Welcome back, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Jamie, aka Mimi, and today we're going to be doing part one of what I like to call the innocent skirt. She's cute, she's completely customizable and different, y'all. Let's get started. Okay, so for this tutorial, you'll be needing your 4mm hook, your measuring tape, a pair of scissors, a few stitch markers, and a tapestry needle. And then lastly, your yarn. I'm using cotton yarn. I just feel like it's more lightweight and breathable when it comes to wearing crochet clothing. And I'm using Paint Box Cotton Aran. It is 50 grams and 93 yards total. I used about maybe, I want to say 5 to 6 balls of this to create my size skirt. And I created a large because the widest part of my hips measured out to be 40 inches. So depending on how long or short your yards is, with any yarn that you choose, that will determine how many balls you need, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is measure yourself. So you're going to take your measuring tape and you're going to measure the widest part of your hips. For me, that's 40 inches. Once you have that number, you'll take half of that. For me, that'll be 20. And that is going to be what I'm going for as far as my horizontal side and my vertical side, because we are crocheting 2 panels together. So 1 panel, when stretched, will equal half of your measurement. So for me, the horizontal panel here, when stretched, would equal 20 inches. Okay, and the vertical panel, when stretched, as you can see, will just equal 20 inches around. And don't worry about, like, when you start, even if your horizontal panel is more than you wanted it to be or less than you wanted it to be, it's okay, because the other panel will just stretch to where it needs to be in order to fit the widest part of your hip. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. I'm just going to be doing a size small. So for a size small, the hip measurements are anywhere between 36 to 37 inches. So I'm just going to start by creating my horizontal panel first. And I'm going to do half of 37, which is 18.5. That's what I'm going for. But remember, even if it is less than that or more than that, you're okay, because the other half of the skirt will complete it. Okay, so I'm going to chain up as many as I need to get me to 18.5 when stretched. Okay, so you'll just chain up however many you need to get you to your measurement when stretched. Okay, now I'm going to grab my measuring tape and just see where I am so far. See what it measures out to when stretched. Okay. So, oh wow, it measures right on 18, 18.5. So that's fine. Now I'm just going to, whenever you reach half of the widest part of your hip measurement, you're going to then chain up 2 more. And we're going to be doing half double crochet. So you're going to place your first half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So we got 1, 2, 3. So we're going to place our first half double crochet in that 3rd chain from the hook. All right, and we're going to continue with half double crochets all the way down the chain row. Okay, this is what your first row should look like once you're finished. So now what we're going to do is just chain 1, turn our work. And if you've been crocheting with me for a little while, you'll know the next part. We're just going to be working in the back loops only from here on out to create that rib effect that you've seen on the skirt. So we're going to do our first half double crochet in the first stitch in the back loop only, okay? So wrap your yarn around insert your first half double crochet in that first stitch, and you're just going to continue to work half double crochets in the back loops only. Okay, and I will meet you at the end of row 2 and show you just exactly what we're going to be doing. It's the same pattern all the way until you reach the length of your skirt, keeping in mind that we do have a border, but I'll explain all of that once we get to the end of row 2. Here is row 2, and you'll continue to do this same pattern until you reach the length of your skirt. However long you want your skirt to be, that's how many rows you'll do. Making sure that you're taking into account that we do have a border, okay? So, with that, I'm 5'6". So this on me is like a cute mini skirt length. And I did a total of 32 rows. And I'll show you just how long it is with my measuring tape, just so that you can get a feel for how long you want yours. So without the border, it's about 12.5 inches. And with the border, it's about 13. Yo, I don't know that measurement. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put it on I'm gonna put it on the side of the screen. But this is how long my skirt is, both with the border and without. And I did a total of 32 rows, right? I did a total of 32 rows to reach that length. Okay, so if you want to follow with me and you want a shorter mini skirt, you can do 32 rows. Depending on your height, you can do more or less, depending on what look or feel or vibe you're going for. But once you reach as many rows as you need for your length, I will meet you back here so that we can start on our vertical side. Okay, see y'all soon. Okay, so I officially finished all of my rows to get the length that I was going for. Whether you chose to do mini, midi, or even long, y'all. I've never tried this long. But once you do that, now we're just going to get our measuring tape and actually stretch this part of the piece to make sure it aligns with our measurements. So grab your measuring tape, let's measure. So here I'm just going to measure the length of the skirt. This is without the border, keep that in mind. And it lines up right on 11 inches. So I did a mini, doing a size small mini. And then we're going to stretch the project. To stretch the project, we're just going to take our measuring tape and then we're going to go horizontal and just stretch it to see how long it actually is, right? So I'm right at, oh, it looked like it's stretching a bit to 19 even, if you want to get really stretchy. So it's over 18.5 or right at 18.5 going to 19. So that's good to know. Make a mental note of that. Now I'm just going to compare both sides, so both my horizontal sides. Now we're about to start the vertical side, okay? So yeah, y'all, let's start. Grab your yarn and then you're going to start with a slip knot. Okay, and once we have our slip knot, we're just going to take our hook and insert it back into that slip knot we created. Now you're just going to chain as many as you need for your height of your skirt. So my measurement was 11 inches for that length. That's like the mini skirt I was creating. So I'm just going to chain as many as I need so that it matches up to the height of my skirt. Okay, so I chained a couple more chains and now I'm just going to measure it. So this is also when stretch. For me, it met 11 inches when stretch. And after I complete the first row, that's when I'll line it up with my horizontal side to make sure. Because once you do your first row, that's when you can really see how long it'll be. Now I'm just going to insert my hook back into that loop and chain an additional 2 chains. And then we're going to put our half double crochet in that third chain from the hook, just as we did with the horizontal side. Okay, now you're just going to continue putting half double crochets, just like last time, all the way down your chain row. And once you're finished with row 1, I will meet you guys here so that we can officially line it up with our horizontal side to make sure that it is the length that we're looking for. See y'all there. All right, y'all, so I did my first row and this is what it looks like. So now we're going to grab our horizontal panel and just make sure that it lines up. All right, so we're going to take that row and we're just going to stretch it out just a little bit to make sure that it's matching up. You'll realize the more you do, the longer it gets, or the more it'll adjust to its actual length. And this is also where you can decide if you need to take some out or put some more in before you continue going on with your vertical side. But once you have your length and it matches up with your horizontal panel, you'll just continue to do as many rows as you need so that when it stretches, it fits the other side of your measurements, okay? Same pattern, we're going to do chain 1, working in the back loops only, half double crochets, okay? So once you continue to do as many rows as you need, I will meet y'all here so that we can connect them. Okay, y'all, so I did my vertical panel and this is what it looks like. Now we're going to grab our horizontal panel and we're going to connect them. So as you see here, I'm just lining both together by putting one on top of the other, inserting my hook into that loop where I ended at. And now I'm just going to attach them. So to do that, I'm just going to be doing single crochets, okay, by grabbing both two together. So I'm going to insert my hook into the other panel and pull through that first panel loop, then pull through that other loop to connect them, to start it off. Okay, and then I'm just going to go, I'll zoom in. I'm just going to go through each loop on each side of the panel, doesn't have to be perfect, and create single crochet stitches, okay? So I'm going through both. I'm going through both panels, the vertical and the horizontal side, pulling through 2, wrapping around, pulling through 2. I also have a trick that you can do with some stitch markers if you have some and if you need them. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so I grabbed some stitch markers and I grabbed my piece and I'm just going to be attaching these stitch markers to both panels so that it helps me stay aligned as I'm doing my single crochet stitches. So I'm just putting one at the very end and just spreading them out across the length of the skirt. Not too close, not too far. So that way, once I continue crocheting, this is what will help me to stay in alignment. If you need these are completely optional, but I felt that it's easier to, you know, make sure that it aligns perfectly once you have these, okay? Once all of my stitch markers are placed, I'll continue to do my single crochets all the way down to connect both panels, removing my stitch markers once I get close enough to them and making sure that I'm still aligned as I'm going all the way down. So with that mouthful being said, continue to do your single crochets until you connect both panels, and I will meet y'all for the next side to connect. If you want to fast forward, you can just connect the other side just as we did here. Just make sure that you stretch your project first. Okay, y'all, so I finished my first side connecting both panels, and this is what it looks like. You can see that ribbon of the single crochets, just like I'm about to show you here. I love the way this looks because it's so different. I like the fact that the ribbon is showing, but it's completely optional, customizable, however you want to do it. Now we're just going to connect the next side, but first we have to measure our project, okay? Because we don't want to get to the point where this thing is too small or too large and we already done connected it. So first things first, grab your measuring tape and let's stretch our project. And I'm just going to stretch. I'm just going to stretch my project. Let's see where we end up. I'm right at about 36.5, which is perfect because I want it to be anywhere between 36 to 37 inches. If you feel like yours is not stretching to where you want it, you may need to add more rows on your vertical side. And if it's a little larger than you want, you may need to frog a few rows on your vertical side before connecting this second side, both panels, okay? So now we're just going to reattach our yarn here. First, we're going to create a slip knot. My nail came off, I'm working. And we're just going to insert our hook into both panels. Then we're going to attach our yarn. We're going to hide that long piece of yarn that you just saw too. If y'all have that long piece of yarn, we're going to hide that. So we're just going to pull that loop through both panels, chain one. And then this side is a little easier because you can see the actual stitches. We're just going to go through both panels just like we did on the other side, creating those single crochets. But this time we're going to be grabbing that yarn tail with us so that we're able to hide it as we're going along this row. Okay, so you can grab your stitch markers or not, it's completely optional, and you'll do the same thing that we did on the other side, single crochets all the way down, and I will meet y'all at the end. Okay, and your skirt should look something like this once you've attached both panels. Okay, and that's the end of part one, y'all. If y'all want more of the secret sauce, you gotta tune in for part two, where we're going to be doing the border, our drawstring, and just our finishing touches. I'll see y'all in the next video. Be safe. It'll be uploaded sooner than soon.